Hi there, my name is Zach and I design ShotLister. Today I'm going to be walking you through how to build your own shooting schedule and also all of the intricacies of live mode, which is sort of the heart of ShotLister and it's magical core that makes shooting really easy. I've got a project here that's already been filled out a little bit. If it's got shots and scenes and things like that. If you want to see how to fill out your own shot list first, go to our other tutorial called How to Build a Shot List. This one is all about schedule and live mode. I'm going to be using the Mac OS version of ShotLister here, but we also have iOS as well. If you want to check that out, all the same features, all the same buttons, just slightly laid out differently. All right, we're going to dive into this here. So on the left here, you've got scene mode, which got your scenes that have shots in them. And we've also clicked here on this header and you can see all the different shoot days that we have. So these shoot days have already been filled out. So if I just click on this one or I can double click on it here, it'll show me what the shoot day looks like. And so there's sort of two things to check out here. There's the shoot day shot list in the middle here and all the shoot day settings on the right. But just to show you kind of generally the layout here, you've at the top got a scene header, which shows us the scene that we're doing first. The time that it's starting and the time that each of these other items are going to start. So this one, the scene starts at 7 a.m. because our call time is 7 a.m. And then this next thing is 8:15, then 8:50, then 9:25. And that's based on these numbers, which are on the right, which is how long each thing is going to take, the estimated duration of each thing. And you're just kind of guessing when you first build your shoot day, how long each thing's going to take. So blocking and lighting is going to take 75 minutes, I'm guessing. And then our first shot, it's kind of easy. We're going to get that in 35 minutes. And you can just kind of go through and add these up. And obviously, as you change each thing, if I change this to 45, it will push everything down the line. And then if you click on the shoot day itself, you can see here your available time, which basically means how much time is there between wrap and call time. So in this case, there's 12 hours. And then it adds up all these durations together. And that total is 11 hours and 10 minutes. So there's still 50 minutes worth of stuff that you could add to this. And you can see in this number, this is the total duration of the estimated times for this scene. And then if you scroll down, we've got this other scene that's starting after lunch. And that total estimated time is 3 hours and 15 minutes. So that's the total of all of these shots within that scene added up. So that's how a shoot day kind of looks. But now we're going to build our own shoot day just so you can see how that is. So here we go. I click that plus. It creates a new shoot day. The first thing to do is give it a name. So I'm just going to call that arc. Next thing to do is put in the actual day that it shoots. So yeah, well, 1980 is a long time ago. We're actually going to zoom all the way into the future. All right. And here we go. Right now I'm filming this video in 2023, at the end of 2023. You can see here, it's actually the 4th. I'm going to pick the 5th, just so it would be theoretically in the future. Next thing to do is pick your location. The reason you want to do this, so this is where you would be shooting. You could search your city. I'm recording right now from Vancouver, so I'll just click that. Shows you a little map. And the reason you do that is now it will put in the automatic sunrise and sunset times based on the date and your location. It knows that where I am, the sun sets at 4:15, which is very early in the afternoon. I live in a dark, wet hellscape. And so you don't have to look that information up. It just puts it in there for you. And then you would put in your call time and your wrap time. In my case, I'm going to say the call time is 4 p.m. Oops, let's do that, 4 p.m. And it changes the lunchtime to be 6 hours automatically after that. I'm going to change that to be a little bit earlier. And I'm also going to change this to be still the same day. I'm just making a shorter day just for demo purposes. But so let's say there, we've got a 7-hour day. Start at 4 p.m., we have lunch at 8 p.m., and then we have wrap time at 11 p.m. So that's 7 hours. And you can see here it's saying available time. We've got 0 hours worth of stuff to shoot because we haven't added anything to this day yet. So to add it, we click on the shoot day here, double click, come into this empty day. It says nothing scheduled yet. And we come up to the plus here to add shots. And so here you got a list of all your shots. You can also expand this to see if you wanted to just add just specific shots from a scene. You could do that as well. And you can see that you've got some different icons here. This one has a calendar icon. That means that it's scheduled on another day already. This one has no icon, meaning that it isn't scheduled anywhere yet. So I'll just click that, and it warns me that I'm adding some shots here that have been scheduled on other days, so it's going to unschedule them from those days. Normally this won't come up, but in this for you, because you'll be building something from scratch, but in this case I have stuff already scheduled on these other days, so that's why that pops up, just letting you know that it's pulling them from those other days and adding them to this day. There's also some other icons that you'll see. If shots have already been shot before, you'll see a little check mark icon as well. All right, so I'm just going to click done, and we've brought in our shots. Sometimes when you bring in shots, depending on how you've built your shot list, there might not be any durations here, and you would just kind of go through and start adding durations to each shot based on kind of guesses. You know, this one, 5 minutes, seems kind of low. I'm going to change that to 45 minutes, and you just kind of go through and add how much time you think each thing's going to take. You'll see here that it's kind of giving you a total of how much this scene's going to take. The other thing you can start doing is adding notes. So if I click this, it creates a note. I might call one, setup, and say that that's going to take 60 minutes. And I'll drag that up to the beginning of the day here. So you can see we start at 4 o'clock, we got set up for an hour, and then we get our first shot at 5 o'clock. And you just kind of go through, move the order for what makes sense. And you also notice that these two shots don't have a line between them. And that basically is because they are linked. If I click on this one, you see that link with next is selected. Or if I click on this shot and link them, it'll link them. It's just telling me the prep numbers are going to change, which if you don't know what that is, go check out our how to make a shot list tutorial. I'll explain that. But you can see that now these are linked as well. And linked shots share a duration, and that's because they're being shot at the same time. So this would be if you're doing A and B camera. So for example, I could change this to B camera. This one's already changed to B camera. So it's going to take 75 minutes to get these two shots at the same time, 70 minutes to get these two shots, and linked shots move around together. So you'll see that they kind of get pushed together so that your setups, your pairings of A and B cameras kind of are glued together, which can be helpful. And you can link as many shots as you want together. It doesn't have to just be two. It could be as many as you want. All right, so imagine you're kind of setting this up. You're kind of got your notes, you've got your shots in the order you want, in the durations that you want. You can also click on the shoot day here to see we've now got 6 hours and 30 minutes worth of stuff. So we're still under our 7 hours. Now you also notice in the shoot day settings that there's these pin icons, which is a very cool new feature. So what a pinned time is a time that doesn't move. Now, why would a time move? Well, when you're in live mode, which I'm going to show you in a second, ShotLister is going to change these durations. So if it takes you 60 minutes, it's going to take exactly 60 minutes. But if it takes, say, 70 minutes, it's going to change this to be 70 minutes, which means it pushes everything down. Instead of it being 5 o'clock, it'll be 5:10. And everything else will get pushed. And so as you're going through in your live mode, the times will be all changing, which reflects the reality. Things take more time or less time than you expected. But sometimes there's things you don't want to move. One of those things is lunch. Usually lunch starts at a very specific time. So if I click this button, it will create lunch for me here exactly at 8 o'clock. But let's say, for example, we had a schedule where this was actually going to be 45 minutes. You'll see what it does is it keeps lunch at 8 o'clock, but it adds a 25-minute gap before lunch because this shot, which is going to take 75 minutes, doesn't fit before lunch. And if I go to our total time here, you'll see that now our total time is 7 hours and 15 minutes. Now it would be great to not be over. So let's say, for example, if this was a 20-minute shot instead, you'll see that it moves it up automatically before lunch and then adds a little 5-minute gap. And so no matter what we do to the schedule, this lunch will always be at 8 o'clock, which is really good. And you can do that with any type of note. So if I create a new note here and say this was kid pumpkin time. So sometimes kids, have to get off set at a specific time. I don't have to add a duration, but I can maybe say that happens at 7 p.m. And so that'll land in there so that I know that any shots before this will be able to have the kid, which is very good. So you can move around these notes and make them appear at specific times, or you can create your own sort of locked notes here as well. So I could create one for wrap time, for example, which will be down here at the bottom, and it'll always be there. So for example, say this shot took a lot longer, so 90 minutes, you'll see that it then pushes these two shots after the wrap time, because that they would actually be after wrap, which would mean that you're in hot water. So then you would want to move things around, change the times to get things before that time. So you can see here we're half an hour over. So if this shot, took a lot less time, say it took 20 minutes, it would be before wrap time. So that's how you set up your shoot day. The last thing to figure out how you set up your shoot day is if you click this button, which will show you just the scene header, which can be really helpful sometimes if you want to move things around. I'm just going to add another scene here to kind of make this more clear. So I'm going to add this scene, just warning me that I'm moving those from another shoot day. So now I've got two scenes. I've got scene 8 and scene 10. So if I click on this, it shows me just the two scene headers, which can be helpful. So for example, it's an easy way of moving things around if I want to have scene 8 before scene 10. It's also really a cool way of globally changing the values. So I can go in here and say 300 minutes, and it changed all the shots within that scene proportionally to fit them within 5 hours. So that can be a really great way when you're first setting up your shoot day of getting some general times in there. So for example, I could change this to 240, and now we've got 5 hours and 4 hours if you're trying to get some, even times, which can be really cool. Now, I'm going to open this other shoot day, which I've got prepared here to show off what live mode looks like. Now, live mode is how the app behaves when you're actually shooting. It'll automatically turn on the day of the shoot, but if you need to turn it on or off, you can click this little checkmark icon here. So when it turns on, you will notice something new, which is that the app sort of starts glowing green at first. It'll start glowing red if you get behind, and you see these two clocks that appear at the top, as well as sort of a progress bar and a check mark here on the left. So what's happening is basically it's showing us these two times, wrap time and shot time. So wrap time is telling you how far ahead or behind you are in general. And shot time is showing you how far ahead or behind you will be if you complete the thing you're doing right now. So right now we just started our day, and so we're not ahead or behind. We're at T-0. And this first note was scheduled to take 75 minutes. And, where I am right now, it's 5:19. We started at 5 o'clock, so we're 19 minutes through that. It's, we have 75 minutes to do this, so it's telling us that if we completed our light blocking and setup in record time, we thought we were going to need 75 minutes, but really we only used 19 minutes, and you clicked this check mark, you would now be 55 minutes ahead. So if I click this little plus, you'll see that now wrap is T-55, meaning we're 55 minutes ahead. And you can see here on the available time, we have 12 hours to get this day, and our estimated time is 11 hours and 5 minutes. Now this one is now saying shot T-145. And what it's doing there is it's taking the next shot, which we thought was going to take 50 minutes, and it's adding the amount of time that we're ahead. So it's estimating it's going to take 50 minutes, but we're also 55 minutes ahead. So if you add those two numbers together, it's an hour and 45 minutes if we were to complete this right now. But what normally happen is you would take your time to shoot this, and this progress bar here would start moving down along this. It would take 50 minutes for it to come down to the bottom. And once that progress bar gets to the bottom, it'll start adding time to this shot, 1 minute every minute. So I can just change this to be a 2-minute shot to give you a little bit of a clearer idea. You can see if this was a 2-minute shot, you can see the bar moving through here. And so if it gets to the bottom, if I change this to be 1 minute, what it's going to be doing now is adding time to this. And so every minute that it adds here is going to push all these other shots later. So even though you set all these estimated times, they're all sort of in flux because it's going to start actually putting in the times that it actually took, either more or less than you estimated. And as you change the schedule, like if we just pretend like we got these ones really quickly, but this one was going to take a long time, and this one, let's just say we heard some bad news that one's going to take a lot longer. And now we're in a situation where the UI has turned red, and that means you're behind, meaning there's more stuff to do than there is time before wrap time. And right now, it's not very far behind. It's only 2 minutes. And so we said it was going to take 2 hours to get this. We're 2 minutes behind. So it's saying that if you completed this shot right now, you would actually be an hour and 58 minutes ahead. So really, as you're shooting, the main thing you need to know, just as you get comfortable with ShotLister, is you really just have to look at the shot clock, because all you need to know is if we finished the thing we're on right now, this is how far ahead or behind we would be. If it's T minus, that's ahead. If it's T plus, it's behind. Now, if you were behind, you could do a lot of things. If you're in the middle of your day, you could always move more important things earlier. You could think that certain shots, maybe you put 90 minutes in there, maybe you can get it in 70 minutes, so you can make those changes. And just by doing that, you now have a bit more breathing room. You're now 18 minutes behind. You can also combine shots. So if, say, we thought maybe we could get these two shots at the same time, you could do link with next, and that'll change the prep numbers because they're now going to be the scene order is going to change. Saying link with next, and now both of those shots are going to be shot in 70 minutes, which also gets you a little further ahead. I'm also going to just add a bunch of time here to show this. So say you're 2 minutes behind here again. The other thing you can do is remove work from the day, especially when you're near the end of the day. You're like, oh boy, we're not going to get to this. So if you right click on Mac OS, or if on iOS you swipe to the right, you can delete a shot. And if you do that, you can remove it from the shoot day or delete it entirely. So if you delete it entirely, it's going to disappear from your scenes as well. It just obliterates it from the face of the earth. But if you remove from shoot day, it'll just unschedule it, but it'll still exist. So if I go back to scene 9B, you'll see I've got all my shots here from scene 9B, and most of them have a shot number, meaning they've been scheduled, but the last one here does not have a shot number because it is not scheduled. So that's how you can tell often if things have been scheduled or not. You'll also notice that some of the shots are done here and some of them are not, which can be helpful. So if I go back to my day here, you can continue to move things around. You can also move things back up behind. So if I move this to the area where shots are already complete, it'll automatically mark that as complete, which is just a little quick way of doing that. Another way you can mark things as complete, you don't have to just click the shot that's next. You can also click a shot further down. Maybe you stole a shot real quick. You can click here, it'll reveal a check mark, click that, and it'll move that up to the completed area, which is really cool. And because ShotLister is syncing instantly, all of this is being synced with your entire crew instantly, whoever you've shared the shot list with, who wants to see as things are changing, which can be helpful because, you know, people back at the makeup trailers can see how you're doing, if a certain effect is late or early or whatever the case may be. So that's how live mode works. You'll find out that it's a super powerful tool, but there are certain circumstances or just certain people who don't like the schedule automatically changing to reflect what's happened. There's some people that like to have it so that the numbers they set up in prep, as far as when each thing was going to start, they just like to see that the entire time. So you can also choose to not use live mode. You can turn it off and on by just clicking this button here. But if you don't want live mode to ever even turn on automatically, you can just click on your shoot day or your scene header here, and you can click this button, which automatically makes it so that live mode will not turn on automatically. And it tells you that. It also says you can right click, or on iOS you can swipe to the right to mark things as complete. So if you didn't want to use live mode and you just wanted to have all your things exactly as they were, an example of that would be maybe I'm here in this shoot day. What you could do is not use live mode. None of these things would change, and you could just right click, mark as complete, right click, mark as complete, and you could just see that your day is getting done. On iOS, you just swipe to the left and you can mark as complete that way. So that's how you use the app. If live mode confuses you or you don't want your numbers changing, that's how you do it. Cool. So that's how you use Shotlister for doing a shooting schedule in live mode. Hope you find that really helpful. And if you have any other questions about how to use it, feel free to reach us at contact@shotlister.com. You can also go to our website and join us on our Discord. And we also have an area where you can put your own feature requests in there, because we build all these features based on what our users need and want. Thank you so much. Good luck on your shoot, and happy shot listing.